Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to Market Recap. I am Dan Hodgman. It's Wednesday, December 9th. We are halfway through this week, and boy, it was a news-heavy day. I hope you guys all had a really good day. Little difficult, right? If we're trading equities, we're very comfortable right now with stocks moving higher. We look for weak points, we buy those, and we just kind of continue with that trend. Well, today, it all flipped upside down. We saw a big sell-off. And you got to love how news headlines get us out there, too. I'm getting notifications all day. The Dow, extreme into sell-off. Sell-off continues. The Dow, all the aggressive adjectives that you can possibly think of, they're throwing out there. Truthfully, it's the worst day in about a month and a half. Big down day. And that's expected, right? I said it on Friday during our Three Amigos. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you go check those out. They're a lot of fun. You get to hear from Michael Patak, our founder. He talks about his trading. He talks about a lot of stuff going on with the business, too. So it's a great little insight video. So make sure you check it out if you haven't. But I said on Friday, every market, as it continues higher, it needs to sell off at some point. The sell-off is imminent. It's always going to be there, especially when we maintain these strong trends. Eventually, you're going to see profit taking. You're going to see overvalued stock, right? There's a lot that happens there, and eventually, it's due to sell off. Nothing to fret over just yet. A little bit of a sell-off. At the end of this, I'm going to kind of go through something. I was sitting down with a couple traders today, and we had a kind of a conversation just about daily routines and then asking, what are people going through? And so I want to touch on some stuff just about, I have an idea of how a day goes, and I want to get your guys' feedback on this. I want to get your input, right? I grew up in this industry, so for me, some of it just, that's what you're supposed to do, and I'd love to hear some of your guys' thoughts. So make sure you stick around for after the charts when I touch on that, because I do want to hear from you guys. I want your thoughts and stuff like that. Other news, stimulus kind of hits a wall as Congress is kind of approaching that deadline. I don't know. Are we shocked? Not really. I mean, this has been the conversation, we want to work for the American people, and then they just, they got to argue over their own wants and things of that nature, and not so much worried about everything else. But hey, it's politics. We have quite an intense lawsuit coming from Texas to a bunch of the swing states. 17 more states have signed up with Texas. This is going straight to the Supreme Court about the election stuff. So pay attention to it. Keep an eye on it. Doordash went public today. Big one there. They were kind of estimating it going public around $102. Opened up at $182, I believe, and I think we're still sitting right there. Bad sound. I do apologize. I've noticed it's lagging on my end. Usually it's a lot quicker than this. My computer seems to be spazzing out. Give me just a second. Let me see if we can figure out slowing this thing down. One second. We're loading stuff up here. I think my computer's just spazzing. Can't even load my task manager here today. Here we go. Something is peaking on my computer that shouldn't be, and we're going to figure this one out and get it closed down. And hopefully everything else kind of picks back up. All right, are we doing okay? Let me know if we're still having issues. I hope it's kind of sped up here. If not, I'm going to have to exit out of my charts. I think my charts are pushing us over the edge. I think that's kind of the play here. We'll try the charts, and if we have some issues, I will take a look at them. All right. As always, let's pull up our charts here, starting with crude oil. Crude oil had our inventories today, and man, oh man, big boost of 15 million barrels. It looks like we're speeding up over here. Everything looks to be a little bit better, so let me know if we're still having an issue. If not, we're going to exit out of these charts. I'll watch these comments coming in. Please keep me posted. So, crude oil opened up this morning much higher than yesterday, but man, oh man, we had the number come out, and the market broke. No surprise there. If this 15 million barrel boost continues, we may see this market start to test lower, right? You're adding more supply. If you add supply, price should technically go down. If we're sitting here thinking about the fundamentals of trading, not always going to be the case. We saw that quick emotion, and this market, this is why we say be flat during these numbers, because you just don't know what's going to happen. So big volatile moment here, and then really fell nicely into yesterday's value area. And that was kind of the range that was tradable here today once things started to calm down a little bit. Next, let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500. S&P 500 is a worthwhile one here today. Oops. Oh, Nikes. All right, we're going to... Oh, man, I hate when I do this. Of course this happens. It released it. All right, and of course they're the ugly black charts. You can't really see much, but here, we'll take a look. So this morning, John said to you guys, apologize, the visuals on this are pretty difficult. John said this morning, don't have anything concrete, but he said he kept hearing his dad say, it looks the best at the top and the worst at the bottom, thinking that there may be a potential break. Well, we saw it in the overnight. This market really struggled to press higher the entire night. As soon as we opened up, instant opportunity. Traders looked at that short, right? We opened up higher. We wanted to close the gap to yesterday's close, and it did that. And that just ignited sellers, right? This is very common. When you start to see a slight sell-off, people jump on the sell really, really quickly. And it accelerates it lower. Again, I'm not concerned about this being a change in direction. Truthfully, we kind of are just falling back a day and a half, really. We're trading right around where we were right before we opened up yesterday, so 36 hours ago. Not a huge down day, just gave back yesterday, and a bigger down day than we've seen in quite some time. All right, next, let's go ahead and look at the Nasdaq. Pretty much similar setup here as the S&P 500. So, struggled in the open or in the overnight session. Initial look, lower. Market accelerated lower. Now, Nasdaq's having the biggest down day since October 30th. When we look over here on the daily chart, we get a little bit of an idea of how much today's sell-off is. Truthfully, not a massive sell-off, right? Every time, and this is stuff we have to pay attention to. We always need to be prepared for that down day to really come. We haven't seen a down day in the Nasdaq in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. So it's been quite a while since we've sold off in the Nasdaq. But keep in mind, when I say markets are due for sell-offs, it's inevitable. We're going to move higher. Eventually, we're going to get overvalued. Sellers are going to overpower, and the market's going to press back lower. We haven't even come down to 100-day moving averages, and that's okay. 50-day moving average here. That's what we've got down here. So that's definitely going to be a sight if this market continues. Start looking at those moving averages. Can't stress that enough. Keep an eye on those. Next, let's go ahead and look at gold. John actually talked about gold this morning as well. When we talk about gold all the time, you guys hear us talk, we love overnight highs. We love overnight lows. This morning, John was talking about it. If gold cannot hold at the overnight low there is a ton of room down below. And that's exactly what happened. Could not hold the overnight low. Love the opportunity right here. Right after equity open, gold started to creep higher. We came, checked overnight low to the stinking tick, and boom, there goes the break. Huge opportunity in this market right here. John told you guys this morning, look for that. If it can't hold, and it never did, it came and checked it once, gave us a chance, and there was our break. Next, let's go ahead and look at currencies, and we'll get on out of here. Again, I have some stuff I want to kind of bounce back and forth with you guys at the end of this. I want to get some feedback, and I want to get some thoughts. Looking at the euro. Euro, just like gold, it broke nicely. And look at this. Came and checked that overnight low. Overnight low could not hold, and the break continued. But it gave us a chance. And this is what I like to see here. And this is what we want to see at interesting areas, levels that we're going to look for opportunity. When we're looking back, right, this is what the recap is. We're doing a little bit of a review. We're going to look back at where the opportunities could have been today and how do I prepare for these going down the road. When we sit down, we're always taking a look. Prior day swing low. It was an overnight session. We've got overnight low, which was yesterday's regular trading hour low. We want to watch market reaction as it approaches these areas. And that's exactly what we had here today, right around 9 o'clock this morning. The market held up. It gave us a chance. And this is where we get to say, do I think this... Am I looking for a short or am I looking for a long? These are the areas that we can minimize our risk to take those low risk entries to continuation to the downside or look for it to recover. Now, every time it approaches these markets, it's acting different, right? We can't always say, oh, if it approaches an overnight low, I'm looking for the short. That's not going to always be the case. But if that low doesn't hold, we may see acceleration to the downside. Last, let's go ahead and look at the yen. Similar patterns to gold and the euro, but less range, right? We checked overnight low, started to hold. It gave us a chance, and it eventually slipped right back through. Once we established a bottom, which is what I'm loving, it was where we saw the breakout last time. Market came down, checked it, we bounced from there. And we rallied right back up to overnight low. So good areas to keep an eye on. Overnight lows, overnight highs were definitely some of the levels that wanted to come into play here today. All right, everybody. As I was kind of mentioning earlier, we had Doordash went public today. Big open there for them. I'm excited. I got a great friend of mine who's an executive over at Doordash, and so I've been watching this IPO for quite some time for her, and I'm excited to see Doordash doing well. She's one of my good friends. She actually grew up right down the street from where I live now. Doordash. Airbnb is getting ready to go public. Another big one that I just saw here today. Robinhood just brought on Goldman Sachs, looking for an IPO valuation of $20 billion. That's a big one. All right, so just a couple things on IPOs. Obviously, when we talk stocks, guys, got to bring up Tesla. We got to bring up VIX, see what's going on there. But first, just looking at the economic calendar for tomorrow, CPI and jobless claims at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. We got a bunch of auctions, including the 30-year bond auction at 12 Central Time. So at noon tomorrow, if you're trading treasuries, if you're trading the bonds, keep an eye on that one. All right, Tesla. Broke down a little bit. Tech stocks just in general, all down today. We saw Nasdaq way down, so kind of makes sense. Tesla sitting over at $604 a share, and the VIX bounced a little bit, right? Makes sense. We saw a sell-off. Kind of shocker. Was not coming in this morning expecting a bigger sell-off like we saw. Spiked up to 23, and now we're sitting back down by 22.3. And that's what we got here today. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I was sitting down with some traders today, and we were just talking about morning routines and kind of this idea of how we prep for our day, what we do during our trade, and doing that sort of review. And someone asked me the question, do you think every trader goes through these processes? And I said, well, yeah, of course. And then I realized not everyone's doing the same stuff. So for me, my question for you guys, and this is where I need your feedback, everyone in here, Felix, Oliver, Christopher, James, Shane, also good to see all of you guys. Thank you for hopping in here. I need your guys' feedback. I want your opinions. I want to hear what you guys are doing because it helps me, and maybe we can create some content around this. So typical morning, you get up, you do your workout, do a little meditation, get some breakfast in you, and maybe a cup of coffee. My routine every morning, I'm up about 4:30 or 5. I take the dog for a walk. I get him fed. I get my coffee going. While the coffee's going, I like to let that sit. I get a workout in. Whether I'm going for a run, hopping on the Peloton bike, or just lifting some weights, I try and get something done in the morning. And then I sit after I shower, I sit on the couch. I read my Wall Street Journal, put the news on, usually something not market related, maybe a little local news. And I drink a cup of coffee and I just relax. And that's kind of my way of meditating, right? And then I sit down, and that's where the real prep goes in. I usually take about an hour and a half of preparing for the markets, right? I got to go through all the products that I'm trading. I'm typically only trading 2, max 3 in any given day. And I spend about 35 minutes on each product. And then that's when the day starts, right? I start prepping my charts. I make sure I'm going through my plan. I know exactly what my risk is on the day. I know what I'm looking for. I know I've got timers. I keep the Alexa in the other room so I can say, Alexa, set timer for this because I know this number's coming out. I go through all these processes. And my question for you guys is, what's your morning prep like? Are you guys going through a detailed prep? Are you feeling like you're rushing through things? Or are you feeling like you got a great morning prep? That's not an issue to you. Then during the trade, everything's a little bit different. And then at the end of the day, which I think is the most important part, right? We got to review no matter what. If we had a good day or a bad day, we got to do the review. So are you guys doing that review? How much time are you spending in that review? Would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know, whether in the chat or in the comments afterwards. I'd just love to hear your guys' thoughts. And I'd love to maybe do something that I go through a daily routine, top to bottom with myself, everything that I'm going through on the day. That's something you guys would like to see. I would love to be able to do it. So just let me know. On that note, guys, I'll let you get on out of here. Have a great day. John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time for the market forecast. Until then, stay safe, trade smart, trade well. I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.